Howdy ho, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great night. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. So, I'm here tonight. I'm going to have on my guest, Heidi, here in a couple minutes. But I wanted to tell everybody one of the guests that I had on back a couple producers ago. Daniel Mawini, he passed away. He was one of the guests that I had on that I was really impressed with. He had been on intervention. He'd gone through a lot of things, but I do not know why he passed. I do not know that, but I knew that he had lupus and some other things. But I hope everybody will say a prayer for him, positive thoughts that he went to the place that he needed to go. So, it's just a thought that when everybody leaves, that we kind of just say a prayer for their soul to go where it needs to go. So now on a lighter note, my guest tonight is Heidi Taylor. We met down in the Joplin Paranormal Conference with David Glidden. Actually, we met before that. Her and I met at a different event at a different time, but we made actually a better connection at the Joplin Paracon. So we have her on here, and let's go ahead and bring her up. We're going to talk about the events that she's got coming up. She shared a bunch of them with me. And so, hey there, Susan and Mom and Heather, and April and Lee. Thank you guys all for being here.
So hopefully the rest of my crew will be on here. Yay!
I guarantee if they're not here now, this will be up for replay when we're done, so you guys will be able to listen to it again. And if you have any questions, please ask them. Even if we're not live at the time, Heidi is copied on this, so she will be able to see and answer those questions for you. So don't be shy. Ask your questions. Even if you think it's a dumb question, somebody else may have the same question. So no questions.
There's no dumb questions. Yeah, there's no dumb questions.
Because none of us know everything.
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah. So you have a ton of events coming up.
Yes.
So start with whichever one you want to start with.
The first one is actually this next weekend in Dodge City, Kansas. KC Metaphysical will be having their fair there this next weekend. I will be working that, having a spirit gallery, and it's going to be Dodge City. That's going to be September.
Let me see.
And the paranormal event will be the one in Dodge City.
Let's see.
I sent you a bunch of stuff, and hopefully
yes,
you can just
and I was trying to put them in order.
Yeah, I didn't put them in order.
I will post them all. That's
wonderful. Okay, so what we're going to do in conjunction with the Metaphysical Fair is at the theater there in Dodge City, we're going to have a paranormal ghost hunt. And if you follow the link to the ghost hunt, you get your ghost hunt ticket plus the fair ticket all in one swoop. So we've got
something different than they've done in other.
Very much so. Yeah. The Haunted Souls Paranormal Group is fantastic. They're out of St. Louis, Missouri, and they're going to be in there and working in conjunction with KC Metaphysical.
Yeah. We met them also down there in Joplin.
You did. Nice, yeah. Dan and Dave were both down there. Yeah. Dan and Dave were both down there. Yeah. Yeah. Or Dan and Doug, excuse me. And Doug has stepped back for a little bit. Dan is traveling with Zach this next weekend, and they'll have so much fun. Yeah, theater, the theater location that they're going to be at sounds fantastic. Apparently, it's had quite a few haunting shows going there, so that'll be fun.
But any of you that go to Dodge City, bring water.
Yes,
it is really hot and dry out there all the time. Yeah. So and make sure you have time to walk around. Yeah, time to walk around. Go to the Boot Hill Distillery. That place is haunted as well. It's a fun place to go. And if you can't find a spirit walking around, you're going to find one at the bar.
And the fair is actually at the casino at the convention center. So if you need to get out of the heat, we'll be inside there doing that. And then on Sunday at noon, I'll be doing the Spirit Gallery in conjunction with the Paranormal Haunt.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So that's just the first event coming up. Then we're looking at, I've got another event booked in September for over Labor Day. Then following that is, I'm looking at a goth event, which is a goth swap and shop here in Kansas City. It's at the Stony Hill Casino. And that's just a one-day event, but there's all sorts of stuff that normal oddities that people like to find will be at that show. And then we're looking into our galactic show with my two channels that are going to be there with me. Susan Walter and Joseph Shepard are going to be at a special private event here in Kansas City. And we're going to be channeling ETs and other beings and having classes. And we're having provided dinner is with that. And it's a super fun location just south of the plaza here in Kansas City. And then the next two are we're looking into October by then. So I've got a book signing coming up then. And then I've got a seance going on in another location on October 14th. So Denise has the links to everything, my pages. She's going to be posting all the links for y'all. So you can get on here. Tickets are available for everything right now. So get them in early because they're booking up fast.
Because I saw that you had some stuff. Well, you sent them to me before these that you sent me some other ones. So, and you go, oh, I'm so sad that you moved. And it's like,
I know, but yeah, if everybody doesn't know, she moved away from Kansas. She moved away from us.
Well, considering I'm not from Kansas, I'll tell you, we went. Okay, so fun story. I made Ron take me to the seafood store, okay, the other day. And we've been eating shrimp a lot. Okay, wow. So it's one of those things. And there is an overabundance of shrimp. So shrimp is really inexpensive right now at Aldi. So wherever you live, it's about $5.30 for 12 ounces, which is really good.
Wow.
And it's not just here. It's just because there's so much. So we've been eating a lot of that. Well, I made him take me to the seafood place, and they have crabs. And the crabs are $17 a dozen.
Oh,
My sister says that is expensive. And I was like, no, it can't be. But, I'm from Maryland, so I grew up cleaning crabs by the time I was 3. We all had to know how to do it or we didn't eat. And I told her, I said, I don't care. If $17 is expensive, I'll pay it. So she said basically if we went by the bushel, it would be high. And I was like, I'm the only one that's probably going to be eating most of the crabs, so not a big deal. But so Ron goes, well, do you want to buy some? And I was like, yeah, I'd like to, but I'm not prepared, to cook a bunch of crabs. I said, as soon as we get all the stuff, I will be making some. But it's one of those things you don't want to eat it in the house because it's just a mess to eat in the house.
Right.
And so it's something we got to do outside.
So is that something you have to have like huge pots for and tongs and stuff?
I do canning, so I already have those huge pots.
Oh,
so great. I'm prepared. I have also got my can of Old Bay. It used to be this big. It's now this big.
Well, yeah.
And I had to call my sister and say, hey, how do you do this? I said, she was, but you're older than me. You should. I said, no live crabs in Kansas City.
Right.
At least not fresh.
Yeah. That's not one thing that we definitely, get around here. If you want barbecue, yes. Live crabs, no.
Yeah. And the thing about shrimp that people don't know is you can't get fresh shrimp that's not frozen.
Right.
Because they're so far out, they flash freeze them out there on the boats. They clean them and freeze them there.
Oh, wow.
So if you're buying frozen shrimp, you're getting as fresh as you can get, unless you're on the boat and cooking it on the boat.
Wow. So everybody at Aldi's here in Kansas City, we should be able to technically get it.
Yes.
Nice.
The Gulf shrimp, it's medium Gulf shrimp, 12 ounces, and it was like $5.39. And
not bad.
We've been, like I said, at least once a week, we've been having shrimp. And I know my cholesterol's hating me, but it's good.
As long as your health is better, that's the main thing.
Is it? I don't know. But that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other topic. So.
Yeah. I don't want anybody to think that we're going to make this all about Denise's health.
So now that we're done talking about food situations and having, all the conversations, if anybody is wanting to ask me questions, please get online and do. We're here, and you can follow the links from my stuff, and I'm just busy. It's been a hot month for October right now. Like I said, we're all feeling the heat. Everybody out on the coast is poor California right now.
And the thing is where it's been about 100 years since they've been hit with anything, and my daughter says in Vegas they've been getting rain now for 2 days, and you know what? If nothing else, hopefully it'll help Lake Mead. The water's been so low. They're saying that it's going to be 2 or 3 inches of water that this is going to add to Lake Mead, and that's
fantastic. Yeah.
So
I had asked about how high that was and whether it was low or not, and so if it's going to add rainwater there, that's great.
It's been low. I mean, it's been going down since we'd been going out there. We'd been going out every couple times a year, every year while our daughter, who lives here in Florida, when she was living there. And so we'd drive by Lake Mead, and it was just getting lower and lower every time. So
yes, April, I am a medium. I'm a psychic medium. Yes.
So ask away, April. Ask away. So
yeah, I my main work is when I'm doing shows is the Kansas City metaphysical shows, and so if you're in Kansas City 3 times a year here, I've been to Nashville with KC Meta this year, and like I said, that upcoming one is Dodge. I do medical intuitive readings, mediumship, oracle readings, a little bit of everything. I'm doing hypnosis and Akashic record readings now. I've gotten certified. And so I enjoy doing all of those types of readings.
So what's the what is an oracle reading?
Oracle reading is cards. Instead of using tarot cards, I use what are called oracle decks, and they have more pictures than just the meanings of the pictures on the tarot. So it's a different type of reading.
So do people contact you and say, hey, I want an oracle reading, or I want or do you decide?
If they ask, say, I don't know what I need, I'll ask my guardians, and they'll say, okay, she needs this, and then we go forward. But normally they know what they're coming in for. And with my link, you go into my linked into my calendar, you can choose any of the stuff on there and say, okay, I want to do a 30-minute mediumship, and just book it, and then has instructions to pay, and that way you're already set up on my calendar and we don't have to go back and forth. So it's been very convenient to do that.
Oh, I tell you, if I live and die by my calendar.
Yeah.
So
it's important.
If it's not in there, I'm screwed.
Yeah. And with the Zoom calendar that I'm using, it goes right in there, sets up the Zoom link, and I'm good to go. And since I do international readings, it changes the time for everybody to where they need to be, and it's good.
So when did you start doing international readings?
I did start doing international readings about 3 years ago. I have one of my favorite people she's in Wales, and she's an author and a well-known person, or I'm not going to say who it is, but yeah, we get on there, and it's funny because we'll have a reading, and I'll hear her the next day on her live, and she'll be talking about what we were talking about. So it's, yeah, she'll be like, Heidi said, blah, 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 blah.
And then you also have some, you've been on some talk shows recently as well, haven't you? Podcasts.
No, I haven't. The last podcast I was on was actually yours, hon.
You know what? I may have misread one of the links that you sent the other day.
Yeah, I've been doing live events as far as in-person events. I did do we did a gallery last November at KC Meta. We did a prediction gallery. So I've been doing things like that. It was fun doing. I was doing a medical intuitive prediction gallery then. That was pretty fun.
So with the prediction gallery, did anybody tape it so you can go back and go, hey?
No, that was the first one that they had done. And I was like, did they tape? No. And we had one of the other ladies. She was channeling through a crystal skull, which was super fun.
A crystal skull?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It wasn't the vodka one, was it?
No, it wasn't the vodka one.
Well, Dan Aykroyd is related to that. See, it is paranormal.
Natasha was on there and she was channeling through this crystal skull, and that's always a fun thing to hear. And that's something you get to hear when you come to Casey Metaphysical shows too, is, there'll be somebody getting on there and playing with the skulls. And, channeling is one thing that me and Joseph and Susan, we do on a regular basis anyway. And so doing our event with the channeling and having people come and say, okay, we have these types of questions, our ET, we had my last event that I just did, we had people say, our ET's real. And 6 of us are like, yes, right back at her. And they're like, well, how do you know this? And we're like, because we just, we do, this is how it works. And they're wanting to know how we end up channeling. And
see, that's part of what I'd like to know,
yeah.
Like April says, channeling kind of scares her. Could it be dangerous to you?
Only if you're not aware of who you're talking to. Yeah. I mean, we make sure, I mean, it's almost like vetting a ghost. There's times where, whenever it's in type of ET format, or somebody that's an off-worlder, as we call them, they will give us a name, rank, and serial number, legitimately. And we know who we're talking to. We can feel, we can discern whether it's somebody that we should be messing around with or not. And I'm
gonna tell you, ETs have to be real because we can't be all that's in this universe.
Oh no. There's, I laugh about, the people that are doing the Sasquatch hunts and stuff like that. I'm like, well, good luck, because they shimmer and you're not going to catch them on a camera very often. There's more and more coming out. They just did a Skinwalker Ranch on their one thing that they put the guy on the EEG and he was connecting with the orbs. And
on the show?
They just did it.
So
yeah,
we can't talk about that because we haven't had TV since we left.
Oh no!
We're getting it this week. We're getting it this week because college football
you need to be watching the shows. I'm not going to go to far. They did do an EEG on him, and they caught it all.
Oh, okay.
So it's completely recorded.
That's one of the things I think would be interesting to watch.
Well, I'd love to have, a sign to say, here, put this on here, and then have me call in, my spirit guides or whomever from the other side and watch my brainwaves, because that's what they were doing.
Yeah. And see what matches up.
Yeah. As it matched. They had everything matching up, and they actually are putting it out there, which is something that our government's not been doing. They just had all that stuff in front of Congress. They're like, yeah, we have DNA, we know that they exist. The stuff that they're putting out right now is finally more disclosure than we've heard in in forever, put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for the people who have been abducted, we'd know squat.
Right.
They can't shut everybody up.
No, but now they're coming on confirming what we've known from all the abductees and stuff for all this time, and actually admitting it. And that's what's really bizarre. I'm like, okay, how much more advanced have they gotten if they're just admitting this stuff finally?
Well, there's got to be something.
Yeah.
Because how did we get so advanced so fast in the United States from the beginning of World War II to now? Right. I mean, it's light years worth of stuff. I mean, we went from cell phone, these bag phones that are, this big to, well, they were smaller than this at one time.
Yeah. I mean,
now they're getting big again.
The ones on Star Trek, I mean, they were there, in the 60s, showing us stuff that was going to be coming up.
Yeah, I know.
We literally have, the communicators and all the other stuff, just like they're showing. And, it's fascinating how much is coming out. I mean, yes, we have Project Blue Book was put out, it's open to the public now. And, they're having to admit that, and then we still have the black ops showing up and saying, okay, where'd you come from?
Yeah. And the thing is if they lied about this, keep this in mind, people, not being political at all.
What else
people
are they lying about?
Yeah, people lie about things. Mm-hmm. What else do they lie about? And like I said, not political at all. Just think people in general.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a major control thing. There's enough of us, like I said, there was 6 of us psychics in the room that channel galactically at my last event. Okay. And when that happens and you're saying, okay, you can't shut us up now.
So are you guys going to do some of the interesting experiments that where you bring down the UFOs for people to see them? Like,
I don't know that we'll be bringing down UFOs, but we can certainly change the energy in the room.
So April asks, do we think that these things are related to AI?
Actually, with not going into more of the episodes on Skinwalker before, but some of the shows, the craft I call macaroons because that's what they look like, was asking my guardians what was running those ships, okay? And they said AI Gray. Well, I just found out from my son that there's actually a company that's running a supercomputer that's also called AI Gray. And I said, that's interesting.
I think that AI is a product of what we have learned from out there that's been brought here.
Yeah.
Because
the AI
too fast.
Yeah. The AI is running, the quantum computers are becoming more prevalent. Some of the smarties can build their quantum computers at home right now. Mm-hmm. And so that's happening, and that tech is becoming more and more out in the view.
Yep. And that's kind of, so you guys know, that's what I do. A lot of the stuff I do. So I'm a lot smarter than I look. And I mean, when I talk technical, I talk like this. I talk like I talk.
Yeah.
So, which helps people to understand what's going on. But I don't need to be technical. I just do it.
You just are. Yeah. And that's, my kid is that way. And that's why he's the one that was telling me about the AI stuff. And I was like, okay, is there anything else I need to know right now? He's like, no, Mom, you're good. Because he does the same thing I do. It's actually inherited from my mom's side of the family. Mm-hmm. And so my mom and I and my son all channel and are just, it's just our world.
And Lee, I'll be back. So will they. That's the whole idea. They keep coming back.
Yeah.
Aliens are apparently our bad penny.
Yeah. I mean, but there's ones that will come and help, and there's ones that don't want to be here at all because humans, frankly, are not nice.
No, I mean, they probably went to Walmart and said, making me wait on myself now. So, but
yeah, I mean, we have, the food that's coming out, all of the cloning stuff is just there.
Yeah.
And
that's something that bothers me.
Yeah.
The cloning is something that bothers the daylights out of me. I don't think it's ethical.
Well, and that's, cloning humans is going on. And that's one thing that those of us that can see it. And we're very well aware that one's not human.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
Right. Yeah.
And people need to keep in mind, even in that cartoon, they lost control. And that's what will end up happening if that's the case.
Yeah, so, that's very concerning because, that ego gets in there and the humans think that, oh, yeah, it's not going to happen. Well, that's not the case.
And see, we're to Jurassic Park.
So what channel do you think you are, who or what you are talking to? No control over that?
basically she's asking that when you're channeling, do you have control over who you're talking to?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm one of those that I never let anybody take over my body. It's just not allowed. If they want me to relay a message, I will. And that's the end of it. Yeah.
So have you gotten any messages to relay to anybody higher up there? You know, like a message from an alien that needs to go to the head office.
Oh, not recently, no, but when I do get things like that, I'll end up posting it, and whoever needs to see it will see it. And that's how they have me handle it. They don't have me, because of security, they don't have me go direct ever. And
do you ever get messages that are for somebody you know?
Oh, yes.
You can go directly to?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I actually was doing a hypnosis on one of my students, and all of a sudden her voice changed, and I was like, all right, who's here? And it was a team of scientists from the other side that they showed me on the lab. I could see it in my mind's eye. They said, we were trying to get a hold of you. Your security wouldn't let us through.
Oh.
So they went through her hypnosis session.
So how much of the stuff in CERN may have something to do with the aliens?
A lot. Because of the collider situation and, you know, the whole spark stuff, you know, it's not human tech, put it that way.
That, like I said, so many changes, short period of time. People who have, if you've even dabbled in reading about aliens, you can watch from the time that they started saying that we're seeing these, publicly saying it. We know that there's been signs of aliens here for thousands of years.
Correct.
Okay? But publicly coming out and saying, hey, this is what's happening, to now, technology has exponentially changed. We are in the third industrial revolution, and we barely got to the second one.
Yeah.
If you're looking at time frames, and everything I do is related to the third industrial revolution. So I know that this has all changed that much. And then if you think about, okay, I started working in the field that I'm in 1998.
Yeah.
25 years. And what has changed in 25 years? Just think about that.
Yeah. And that in 97 is when I started waking up to what I do now. All right. Yeah. So that past quarter of a century, that 25 years from when I started to when you started that, it is, so beyond different.
Right. And I worked, the stuff that I was doing was Jetson stuff. Okay. What we were living was Flintstones. What I was working on was Jetsons. And no, we don't have flying cars. We have something close. We have some hover type things.
We have stuff that they're tracking on camera now with the shows that are coming out. They're showing us that it's going over, 300 miles an hour or 3,000 miles an hour. They're tracking the how fast it's going. They're going in and out of a mesa. They're showing proof of wormholes. This is coming all out right now.
Oh yeah. And what about time travel? That is also one of the things that's involved in all this. I think that time travel has a lot to do with Bigfoot.
They do, because that's what I refer to as the shimmer. It's a difference in time. It's a difference in frequency. It's a different, you go into the string theory stuff and it's there.
Yeah.
It's literally, I will do this and I'll the wave, and that's how I see the energies when an ET's, a Bigfoot's coming in and out. I'll be like, oh, hi, and it's there.
Well, I'll tell you, when I was a kid and they showed the Bigfoot video, on the news, okay, black and white on the news, in my living room.
Right.
And I looked at that, and I remember telling my mom and dad, so I was about 7 years old, that Bigfoot was an alien. I said, and that's what I said, Bigfoot was an alien.
Uh-huh.
My parents looked at me like, you're crazy. But I was 7. So,
yeah.
But you know what? What I said when I was 7, I've been sticking to that all these years. But people used to laugh at me until about, about 8 years ago, 10 years ago. People used to laugh at me and say, oh, she doesn't know anything. And now people are embracing that theory.
Yeah. And see, that's a big thing about why 25 years ago I was getting taught from the other side, but I certainly didn't talk about it.
Okay, so I'm going to read this out loud for you. Okay, so April's going to switch topics on us.
I see that. Okay, so Obadiah, I'm guessing, is her son.
Yes.
The thing of it is ask him what he's seeing and why he's thinking it's scary. And a lot of it could be guardians. A lot of it could be
he dreamt that he was being stabbed to death.
And that may be past life that's coming up. Yeah.
The question is if it is past life, people, think about this. Family members that have been stabbed to death. Is it quite possible that there is a family member that's coming through? You know, I need to probably talk to him some more and find out.
Well, that's one thing that, you need to have somebody talk to him and find out what's coming through. Another thing that I'm going to be starting teaching is I've been doing genealogy professionally for the past 15 years. And since then, but I'm going to start doing genealogy related to past life stuff and tracing family lineage and getting healing done that way. That's one thing I've done with my clients already, and it is really beneficial.
And April knows quite a bit about genealogy. She's done most of our family genealogy.
So if that's the case, then see if you can track down anybody that's trauma-wise, or it may be a past life. That's what you're going to have to figure out.
Obadiah's uncle was stabbed to death. Is my dad.
Oh, okay. So it's your dad that you, okay.
I'm just wondering.
And so is Obadiah his reincarnation?
I don't know. Or if maybe he's the reincarnation. He wouldn't be the reincarnation of the person who stabbed my dad to death.
Right.
There's no familial relationship.
But he could be sibling or your dad.
Well, like I said, his brother, but the bad part is April's dad didn't really know my dad except as a cousin, not as a brother.
Right, but that doesn't mean that energetically he's not seeing that. Yeah, if he's seeing that in dream, then and I'm aware enough of your family stuff that there's healing I'm sure that needs to be happening.
And like I said, it wouldn't surprise me with the blood relationship. Are you more likely to have a past life experience related to somebody that you're related to, or
not necessarily? No. It's all in your soul life, so it's all going to be in your Akashic record, whether it's an actual person that you're related to physically, or it's a past life that you have no genetic connection to at all.
So with Akashic records, is there a way for us to determine who we're talking to?
Yes. And you just go in there and you ask the question. So when I'm doing an Akashic record reading, I'm getting into their Akashic, and we say, okay, here's our questions that we want to look at today. Is this trauma that we're looking at right now, are these current dreams, are they from? And I will usually see the answer. And if not, we'll be giving clues enough to get to where we need to get to and get it cleared up.
So like I said, I have a lot of questions on that kind of stuff, only because, not that I'm skeptical, but because I don't understand.
Right.
Yes, I see stuff. Yes, I hear stuff, but that doesn't mean that I know.
Then it's time for you to get an Akashic record reading done.
That's the thing. I never had, I can't say never. I had one reading, and it was from Chris Moon. and he did it with a Frank's box.
Okay.
And it was really weird because it ended up being at a time my grandmother was being buried that day, and I was at work, and I couldn't go, and it wasn't a blood relative grandma. Another weird story we're not going to get into.
Right.
And my blood grandma, funny story, she watched Days of Our Lives every day from November 1965 until the day she died.
Oh, wow. Okay?
Every day. No matter what. I mean, every doctor appointment, hair appointment, everything went around that. Okay?
Wow.
So her stories were the most entertainment she had. Okay? So at 34 after the hour was time to go to the bathroom. So that would be the break. And at that time, she would go to the bathroom, come back, call my mom. Tell my mom what's been going on the stories. Okay. And complain about whoever.
Right.
Okay. So what's funny is that's how we knew that she had died and when she died, because she didn't call.
Right.
But 12:34, every time I see that, Chris said that was a message. When I look at the clock or look at something and I see 12:34, it's my grandmother telling me that she loves me.
Yeah, it's also, there's one of my students. Hi, Elena. Yeah, the 12:34 can also be an angel number also. And so you might look up the number and see what it says.
Aunt Lucy was such a nice lady.
Aww. Well, it sounds like that, and my guardians are telling me so. So just because I am being told to do this, you need to schedule a reading with me, and it's free.
Who, me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they want you to learn. They want you to learn what's there. And no, when my guardians is saying pro bono, it's pro bono. So don't fight.
Well, and you tell me when, and we'll figure it out.
We'll get that situated. But they're like, no, there's some things you need to know, like, soon.
Well, I know that you told me some things about my health, and of course, when you said it, we were busy.
Yeah.
And when I'm busy, well, you saw me. I'm a butterfly. I'm a butterfly in those situations. Yeah. And really, at that time, David needed me to be a butterfly too.
Right. Right.
Visiting with everybody. And that's how it is when we go out into these events. You saw Ron and I are hardly together. We leave together, we come together, we leave together, we hang out with everybody. And
that's the way it is when I'm working a 3-day fair. I mean, I'm working 24 hours in that 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
And, my Christopher is there with us, and he's always there to unload and to load things up. And, thankfully we have, Lena, another lady that does ship fairs with me. We have these people that are there to get us in and get us out, but they're working. There's sometimes where I have to remember to eat and to run to the bathroom. So
yeah, I wish I wanted Lena to be on. I've tried to schedule her, and I know it's not going to happen until she gets moved.
Yeah, she I just saw her posting. She's getting settled in. So
yeah, and where she said she's living is way too small to be on a show and having everybody there. Because I know the last time back in April when I was supposed to have her on.
Yes, Susan, I do medical intuitive. Yes, and yeah. Okay, so Lena, you were supposed to have on.
Yeah, no, I was supposed to have her on back in April. But her house was too noisy, she said.
Oh,
and at that time, I just took that as a sign that I needed to take some time off and to get ready to move.
And she got ready to move.
Yes, and she did too. Yeah, and so when I sent her a message the other day, she says, "Yeah, we're moving here, and we're going to be staying here, and I'm not going to tell where because
it's not
my place.
But I get to see her this weekend in Dodge, so
I just want her to be happy and healthy.
Oh yeah,
because she is actually one of the very first people that we met in the paranormal.
Yeah.
And it was by phone. And it's a really strange story. Maybe someday I'll tell you. I don't know if she remembers, but I remember because it was impactful.
Right.
And we have been friends ever since. And
yeah, she's a fantastic psychic, and I love being able to have her as one of my colleagues when I'm working shows.
She did a reading for Leah, my youngest daughter, at one of the I guess it was the one that we all went to when I won a reading from Shay.
Yeah.
I had a broken foot.
Oh.
And so somehow, some way, my number got drawn. It was either mine or Ron's. We don't know. I had the tickets in my pocket.
In your pocket.
So I don't know which one belonged to who. And she did a reading, and she kept telling me, she goes, "You're so hard to read." I said, "I don't know why. I'm an open book."
Yeah, you are. That's one thing that, but then again, there's been times where I've had to do an Akashic record reading, and I had to get permission to do the reading. One time it took 3 days for me to get permission to do a reading on somebody. That tells me that their galactic, transactions are something that is beyond my pay grade at the moment, And so I ask, and usually, it's granted. It's like going into some of the galactic libraries. Everybody doesn't have keys to everywhere. And, it's that whole situation where, astral traveling and seeing the things that we do and knowing when ships are coming in or being able to say, hey, no, this is here. And we can describe the whole picture to you and tell you what they're saying.
So if there was a class, okay, I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm not saying that there is. If there was a class that was the introductory to mediumship, what do you think that would look like?
That would look like, first of all, going through all the clairs, the clairvoyant, the clairaudient, the clairsentient abilities, and seeing who's got what. Most people will have one or two of them already. Some people have precognition. Some people have, they can hear spirits. Some people just sense that they're around, and that's when the hair on the back of your neck goes up. If you're being, used as a medium, typically you want to be able to hear the spirit. Susan, the links are going to be all posted.
I'm getting the link right now to post in there.
And so when you're doing that, you generally want to be able to see the spirit or hear the spirit. Okay. And be able to feel what they're hearing or what they're showing you. Sometimes spirits will show pictures and you decipher the pictures. With me, I do all of it. I can see the pictures, I can decipher what they're saying, and I can also hear them. There was a question on Facebook the other day because I started laughing. Do spirits lie? And I said, I've had one that out and out lied to me, lied to her granddaughters that was asking for information on their dad's death. And then afterwards, they said, she came back to me after they had left it to my table and said, I lied to you. And I said, thanks for the information, but why did you lie to me? And she said, because the girls don't need to know how their dad died. And
that's the reason that they would. I mean, if it's somebody that's not evil or a bad person and they're lying, it's for protection.
Oh yeah. And so I actually ran into the girls a little bit later at the fair. I said, guess what happened? Because she was telling me nothing that matched up with his death. Yeah. And I went up to him. I said, well, your grandma came back and said that she lied about everything. And she says, they both said, that's happened before. I said, well, clearly you're not to know.
If they really want to know how their parent died, was it a public type death?
No, it was very trauma. It was, yeah. The grandmother ended up showing me what actually happened.
Okay.
And when that's the case, I'm like, oh, I got you, and that's where I have to put in protective measures. If I know the spirit world is determined not to let somebody know because they'll do something stupid.
Yeah.
You know.
April, I think the reason that you can't find out who your dad's real dad is because Grandma never told anyone. I guarantee that she did not. If she did, she told Lucy, and Lucy never shared.
Has the DNA been done on that?
The bad part is I don't know where we get it from. Her dad, April's dad's dead. My grandmother's dead. The only one that may still be alive is one of my dad's brothers, to make sure he's not that there's
okay.
Not
so are you okay?
She's done some DNA through one of her family members, and one of them asked me for mine and never hasn't come back to me.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you're only what, one generation off of? Are you one generation or two generation?
April's dad was my uncle, so that would make
okay. So you're only one generation off. So if you had your DNA done, I could probably find it because we're gonna it's that sequencing within DNA. It's called triangulation, and that's something that professional genealogists use now to hunt down people.
So, like I said, I think what we could do with ours is at least rule out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Usually, if you get a surname hit on higher numbers, you're going the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah. She's been, like I said, April knows this stuff. She knows it really well.
Yeah.
And
so, April, you can get a hold of me on that too.
she really wants to know a lot of it because of health issues.
Exactly. And that's another thing, there's I use and just found out a bunch of stuff about my health, about using genetic testing with my DNA that I already have. It doesn't take a doctor anymore to get your genetic test done.
Oh yeah, you can go through Quest Diagnostics and get one.
Yeah. There's one I use Prometheus dot something or another, and it's like $12. You just upload your raw DNA. That's all you do. And they're coming back spot on.
Yeah, and so I don't know anything about that other than I know that I need to find out if I have something, because with what April knows about the family is the stuff that I don't know, because of the fact that so my dad was killed when I was 10.
Right.
And at that time we were removed from that whole side of my dad's family. Mm-hmm. We were in hiding. And back then in the 70s, you could hide pretty easy.
Yeah.
All you did was don't have a forwarding address, and then don't have your phone number listed.
Right.
How hard was it?
It's not like it is now. Yeah.
No. So we had zero social footprint, so we had that going for us. But because of that, from 1977, the last time we had seen Aunt Lucy, to when I ran into them again in 1998, a lot of things happened in that time that we didn't know anything about. And, 1998 is when I met April, mm-hmm. and her dad found out he was my uncle and not my cousin.
Oh, wow.
Big, long thing there. But again, I didn't know anything about this whole family.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody died. I don't know if they had any health issues. Now, on my mom's side, I know all that stuff.
Right.
My dad's side, honestly, people, my family, my whole family's pretty much died from stuff that by choice.
Right.
Cigarette smoking, drinking, stabbings, falling downstairs.
And see, that's one thing where if you blend the psychic with the genealogy stuff, you can get clues both ways. You can get into the Akash, you can ask questions that way. You can get into the paperwork. You can get into the science genetics, and using all of that in conjunction with each other, it's bringing out so much more that we're seeing that needs to be healed from.
Yeah.
And, it's huge.
Yeah. And like April says, her dad was born in 1963. My mom actually is the one that named her dad Robert.
Wow.
grandma had the baby, brought it home and says, I can't get attached here. I have baby pictures of her dad, but I was born after him.
Yeah.
So if things had worked out the way that my mom and dad wanted them to, April would be my niece.
Wow.
So, and her dad would have been my oldest brother.
Yeah.
So, but again, we were still in contact up until my dad was murdered.
Wow.
So it was really weird. And
there's definitely a lot there.
I don't know where Leslie came from, but who know? I mean, with the thing, Mom's dead now, so I don't know. So, and April, I just know that she named him Robert. I don't know if she named him the middle name or if that came from the Connor family. So,
well, and see, that's one thing where, we can call Mom back in too and ask her questions.
So,
there's people don't realize that, when I do spirit galleries, there's some people where they're just guest names or whatever. Usually if there's 35 people in there, I don't even go there. I say, give me the first name and we'll call them in. If not, I'll have my spirit guides go find them and they'll pull them in and we start talking.
And how specific are gallery readings? Are they very specific or are they more general?
When mine, they're very specific. They'll be, I'll say, this one I was doing in Kansas City over here while I was in Independence, I had probably 25, 30 people in the circle. And this lady says, I want to know about my daughter's death. And I said, okay, give me her first name. And come to find out, the family thought it was all a suicide. And she was telling me, no, it wasn't a suicide. Her foot got stuck in the railroad track.
Oh, well, that's kind of sucky.
Yeah. And so, I said, this is what she's showing me. I said, so if it's any comfort to you, she didn't do it on purpose. And so it will get that specific.
Because I know that, I've seen, okay, let's go with this. My sister and her niece, or her daughter, decided that they wanted to go to Teresa Caputo.
Uh-huh.
Knowing that you have to buy everything in advance online with a credit card.
Oh.
How specific do you think that they can get?
Well, they can do research on them all day long with that sort of stuff. That's why whenever I'm doing stuff, I go in cold. I mean, I literally don't know anybody hardly, unless it's a client or somebody that just had a reading from me. I don't know anybody in the room. When I go into ghost hunts, I go in cold. I don't want to know about what happened at the place. I don't want to know any of that. And when that happens, I was up at, forgot the place, someplace Springs in Illinois, up north of St. Louis.
Oh, Mineral Springs.
Thank you. I went up cold. I purposely didn't research any of it.
There's, that's one of those places where so much of it's hearsay.
Yeah.
And, saying, I got a pet peeve about that place, being a volunteer at the McPike Mansion for all the years that we have been.
When I went up there, I talked to two men that were wearing Levi's and they had told me they had died on one of the boats from food poisoning, and they were headed down to St. Louis to get a Thatcher. And I took the time period that they had told me, and yes, Levi's were invented by then. Mm-hmm. And the Thashers had just become a new thing within the farming community. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool. So I did that. And then I had taken one of my spirit boards with me and I said, how many ghosts are around me right now? And it pegged like 87 around the area. Mm-hmm. And, there was
a neat area in itself.
In the area. Right. There was kids running around all over the place. I knew a bunch of them had died from tuberculosis, and I didn't know there was a TB house two doors down. Didn't know
the Ennis Sanitarium.
Yeah,
that place is
didn't know about that. But I did have, here I am with all these people making money off the ghosts. The one bad guy come up and said, these humans are making money off of my ghosts, and he was mad about that. But then I had another little girl come up and say, where's my mommy? And of course, at that point, I stopped everything, called angels in, and I crossed her. And I'm like, no, we're not going here.
What I have a problem with is the the lies that are told, that they can't substantiate. That like, hey, a little girl drowned in this swimming pool. Well, it was the men's swimming pool. How in the hell did you get in there?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, don't go there.
Yeah, I didn't pick up anything like that in the swimming pool, like a little girl drowning in there. No, but there was a male, and Christopher, my partner, saw this too. There was a male chasing a young female, and it wasn't the one that they tell the story about all the time. It was a completely different person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, they're running up and down these stairs, and I can hear them, and it's loud. You know,
I'm blood. You can hear their feet going up and down the stairs in the ladies' room.
Yeah. I mean, the front entryway stairs, I was hearing blood curdling screams coming down the stairs, and I knew, hi, Barb. I was running, you know, I'm sitting at the table in the middle of the entryway there, and here they come flying past me, and this dude's chasing this female, and I'm like, just stop, you know. And it wasn't residual, it was live.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that they don't realize is not from the days of a hotel.
No. This was when it was a brothel. I mean, it was a bad deal. But, you know, people don't realize that everywhere I go, you know, if I want to make it haunted, I can make it haunted.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of us that can just pull in the spirits and say, hey, you know, they're here, but who do you want to talk to and what, you know?
One of the things that I had seen at Mineral Springs was it was abandoned for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Homeless people lived there.
Yeah.
They don't even take that into account. How many people may have OD'd in the basement?
Yeah.
How many people may have OD'd upstairs in one of those rooms or died from heat in the summertime up there? Because there's no air.
No. I mean, and that's what I said. This woman was a brothel worker, because I'm like, who are you and what is your name? And found out, I mean, it's written down somewhere. And I'm like, you know, and this dude, I mean, he was like drugged off his brain in his afterworld, you know, chasing her down the stairs and around.
Not to mention, one of the things people forget about is people who drown during floods there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, almost every time we've been out there, I'd say at least half the time we've been out there, the downtown's been flooded.
Yeah.
You know, Ron's from across the river, you know, from Florissant. So he's heard, you know, about flooding over there almost his entire life.
Right.
So there's something about Alton.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you, you ever get a chance to go to Alton, Illinois, everybody?
Go.
So take one of the walking tours if they still have them.
Yeah.
Even the Troy Taylor walking tour is good, because the people who do it's not Troy Taylor, but he did a lot of the footwork for it back in the day.
And you know, clear up. You know, I'm booked through the end of the year already. You know, and bookings for next year, of course, but. You know, at the end of October, we're going to be in St. Louis again, and we're going to pull in the paranormal team and do another ghost hunt. And it's at the Haunted Mansion, but it's the one, not the Kemp one. It's not the Kemp one. It's one that they call the Haunted Mansion. It's almost like a small flat iron shaped building, but it's active.
Yeah, so, I don't know where that is. I know that there's a bunch of stuff in Fenton that's haunted.
Yeah.
There's quite a few places that you could check out. The only thing I think that might be crap, people may not like that, hearing that from me, is the house that the exorcism house there.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's crap.
Yeah.
Yes, I love Greg. I love Greg Myers, and I believe him. But
that's not a place. But I went to the Kemp Mansion, the actual one, to have dinner. And me and Christopher are sitting them, and he's biracial. And we had the ladies of the house come up to the table and tell them not very nicely to get that black man out of our house. And he turned and looked at him and spoke to them in German right back to them and went off on them.
Christopher's the guy we met.
Yeah, Christopher.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
He is so articulate in his experiences. And
he's been doing his stuff since birth. So
That's what he had said. We had a good long talk with Christopher when we were in Joplin, and he is such a nice guy. Well, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
They can find me on Facebook. It's Heidi Taylor's Facebook /AB Negative Arts. That's a link that's on some of the stuff Denise is showing you. You can reach me at abnegativearts@gmail.com. My link to book appointments is in the information that she is showing. It's a Zoom link. I have $30 Thursdays going on where I'll do a reading for 30 minutes on the phone only. It's not visual. But you can have a phone call with me because a lot of my patients or my students and my clients and so on and so forth are needing cheaper routes. So they know Thursday they can book a $30 appointment and be good. So that's going on. I have stuff going on as far as if you watch my page, I'll have specials going on all the time. I just did a Lions Gate special on classes. I'm trying to get, and I do have Titter. I love it. Twitter, that thing.
Is that out of Vegas?
That's like a Freudian slip for sure. But I'm not on there a lot. I've got too much else going on. I'm in the middle of trying to get my book finished on, I do Gothic poetry, and so there's all sorts of stuff going on. So it's best just to email me or send me a message on my Facebook, and that way I can say, hey, I'm here and we can get stuff set up. So
I will reshare all the links when this is over, because every time I try to share one, it tries to load on my computer and it keeps slowing us down.
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to do that. So I will do that again. Yeah, I will label each one of them. Yeah, I will label each one of them so you guys can find them easier.
Perfect.
But I would like to thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Tonight. Thank you for getting a hold of me. I'm glad you got settled and are doing well.
We're doing as good as we can, and nice 100-degree days every day down here, and it's soupy and could be worse, So I'm not going to complain.
No, not a bit. And we'll get you set up for your Akashic. So
yeah, you guys will take care of that. So guys, thank you so much. Join us next Monday at 7 p.m. Central, and I will let you know who the guest is, hopefully before next Monday, so that you'll have time to show up. And then on top of that, join us here tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central with me, Carl, and Ron, and we're going to be talking about, hopefully, something paranormal and nothing political. So please, and talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. So join us here on Born TV, Bill of Rights Network, my Paranormal Pride pages, anywhere. If you can't find it, send me a message. I'll tell you where to go. I love doing that. Love telling people. So join us tomorrow night and have a great night.
Bye.